The golden doors of the penthouse towered above them, gleaming under the morning sun. The city buzzed around the luxurious building, but all the noise melted away for the three little children standing nervously on the marble steps. Triplets, dressed in tattered clothes far too small for their growing frames, clutched each other's hands tightly. "Please, just one chance," whispered the eldest, her voice trembling as she held out a crumpled envelope. Their small fingers shook as they pressed the letter against the polished door. Inside was a simple plea. "Our mom is hardworking and honest. Please give her a chance. She needs this to save us." The concierge peeked from the side, frowning. "You can't just knock here," he said. "We have to," the youngest piped up, eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. She's our mom. Please, she's all we have." The door remained still. The lobby behind it shimmered with chandeliers and marble floors, a world completely foreign to them. The triplets exchanged a quick glance, a silent promise, "We won't give up." And then it opened. A tall figure emerged, imposing, perfectly dressed, exuding power and confidence. His sharp eyes swept over them, pausing on their earnest, hopeful faces. For a moment he said nothing. The triplets froze. "Who are you?" His voice was calm but curious, carrying a subtle undertone of surprise. "Please, our mom," the middle one stammered. She's struggling. We just want her to have a chance, that's all." The billionaire's piercing gaze softened slightly. Something about their courage, their innocence, tugged at a part of him that rarely stirred. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Are you telling me she's the one I've been looking for?" The triplets exchanged bewildered looks. Could it be? Could this moment really change their lives forever? The morning sun spilled weakly into the cramped apartment, falling on worn-out furniture and peeling paint. The air smelled faintly of yesterday's cooking and laundry detergent. In the tiny kitchen, their mom bent over a pot of rice, humming softly to herself, trying to mask the exhaustion that weighed down her shoulders. The triplets Amara, Sami, and little Lena watched her quietly. Their eyes were wide, filled with a mixture of admiration and worry. Amara, the eldest, gently nudged her siblings. "Today's the day," she whispered. "We have to try, Mom, she deserves this." Sami swallowed hard. "Do you think he'll even notice us?" Lena clutched the worn-out stuffed rabbit she carried everywhere. "We have to. Mom, she's been working 3 jobs every day. She barely sleeps." Her small voice quivered, but the determination in her eyes was clear. Their mom, unaware of their plan, hummed a tune and stirred the pot. Bills were scattered across the table. Electricity, water, rent, each stamped with bold, red letters, "Past due." The envelope of rent money sat untouched, the last of what little they had. "Mom," Amara finally said, stepping closer, "we're going to help you, don't worry, we'll handle it." Their mom turned, eyes softening with concern. "Children, you don't have to." "We have to," Sami interrupted gently. "We can't watch you struggle anymore. Please, just trust us." Her heart clenched. She saw the determination, the love shining in their little faces, and her breath caught. "You're so brave," she whispered, tears welling up. "But the world, it's not kind." "We'll be okay," Lena insisted, squeezing her mom's hand. "We just want you to have a chance, that's all." The triplets spent the next hour preparing. A tiny satchel with the crumpled letter, a few pens, and an old photo of their mom smiling despite hardships. They huddled together, whispering words of encouragement. "Remember, we're a team," Amara reminded. "One for all for Mom." With that, they stepped out into the bustling streets. The city felt huge, overwhelming. Car horns blared, people rushed past them without a glance. Yet with every step, their courage grew. Each child imagined the moment their mom would finally have hope, a future without fear of eviction, without sleepless nights juggling jobs. They reached the towering penthouse, the golden doors gleaming against the morning light. It felt impossible, like a dream, yet here they were. And as they stood on the marble steps, hearts pounding, the stakes could not have been higher. This wasn't just a chance, it was everything. "Ready?" Amara whispered, gripping her siblings' hands. "Ready," Sami and Lena echoed. their voices tiny but unwavering. They raised their fists together, then knocked, once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed against the high ceilings, swallowed by opulence. And somewhere inside, behind those doors, a life-changing moment was waiting. The streets were alive with the city's morning chaos. Honking cars, vendors calling out, people rushing past without a second glance. The triplets stuck close together, their tiny hands intertwined, their little satchel bouncing against Amara's side. Every step toward the penthouse felt both impossible and urgent. "Stay close," Amara whispered. "We can do this." Sami's eyes darted nervously at the speeding cars. What if someone pushes us away or laughs at us? Lena shook her head fiercely. "We can't think like that. Mom, she's counting on us." As they navigated crowded sidewalks, their worn shoes scuffed against the concrete. A stray dog barked, startling Lena, but Amara scooped her up in a protective hug. Every minor obstacle, the uneven pavement, the loud city noises, felt like a mountain, yet their resolve never wavered. They paused near a busy intersection. The traffic light turned green and the cars surged forward. Sami's heart raced. "Wait, wait." Amara signaled and led them carefully through a small gap. Their hearts pounded, adrenaline mixing with fear. On the other side, they collapsed onto a bench for a moment, catching their breath. "Do you think he'll even notice us?" Sami whispered again, voice tinged with doubt. "He will," Amara replied firmly. "We just have to try, that's all we can do." A man in a sharp suit passed by, glancing down at them, smirking. "Kids shouldn't be wandering alone," he said, shaking his head. But the triplets ignored him, too focused on the towering building ahead. Finally, the penthouse came into view. Golden gates gleamed in the sunlight, shining like a promise they barely dared to believe. Their hands trembled as they climbed the marble steps. Amara took a deep breath, imagining their mom's tired face, her worn hands, the sacrifices she made every single day. "Almost there," she whispered, trying to steady her shaking voice. Lena clutched the old photo of their mom tightly. "She'll be proud," she murmured. "We're doing this for her." The closer they got, the more the opulence of the building contrasted with the ragged edges of their clothes. Every shimmering chandelier they glimpsed through the glass doors reminded them of the world they had never known. A world so far away from their small apartment, yet somehow within reach today. Amara raised the satchel once more, checking the crumpled letter inside. It felt heavy, not from weight, but from the hopes of a family depending on it. "We can do this," she said firmly. "No matter what happens, we tried." The triplets stepped forward together, tiny fists knocking on the gleaming golden doors. Each knock echoed through the lobby like a heartbeat, urgent, fragile, full of hope. And somewhere inside, behind those doors, a billionaire's attention was about to be captured. The golden doors loomed over them, polished to a mirror-like sheen. The triplets' tiny fists hovered, trembling over the surface. Amara took a deep breath, trying to steady her shaking hands. "Ready," she whispered. Sami nodded, swallowing hard. "Ready." With a synchronized motion, they knocked once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the lobby, swallowed by the vastness of the space. For a moment there was nothing but silence. A soft shuffle approached. The concierge appeared, eyeing the children suspiciously. His expression hardened when he saw their ragged clothes. "You can't just—" he began, but Amara stepped forward, her voice firm despite her fear. "Please, just hear us," she said. "We need your help. Our mom, she's hardworking, honest. Please, just a moment." The concierge frowned, glancing toward the massive elevator doors. "I can't let you in," he said firmly. "This is private property." The triplets' shoulders slumped. They exchanged worried glances, ready to turn away. But before they could step back, the massive golden doors swung open. A figure appeared, a man tall and impossibly composed, dressed in a tailored suit that shimmered subtly under the chandeliers. His dark eyes swept over them, sharp and piercing, yet not unkind. "And who are you?" His voice was calm, but carried a quiet authority that made the triplets shiver. We were here for our mom, Lena said, clutching the crumpled letter to her chest. She works so hard, please, just one chance. Her voice wavered, but the sincerity in her eyes was unmistakable. The billionaire studied them for a long, heavy moment. The faintest flicker of surprise crossed his expression. Few dared approach him so boldly, much less three small children at once. Your mom, he repeated slowly, leaning closer, and you came here alone. Sami's voice cracked. We had to, we can't watch her struggle anymore, she's all we have. A silence followed, thick and tense. The triplets stood frozen, unsure whether their bravery had been in vain. Then something unexpected happened. The billionaire crouched slightly, lowering himself to meet their gaze. You're very brave and very clever, he said almost softly. He reached out, taking the letter from Amara's hands. His fingers brushed hers, and she felt a spark of hope. He scanned the envelope, reading the neat, heartfelt words, his brow furrowed in thought. You've come a long way for her. Tell me, what makes her so special? Amara swallowed. She's honest. She works so hard, she never gives up. Even when things are impossible, she tries. The billionaire's gaze softened, something stirring in his chest that he rarely acknowledged. A mix of curiosity, respect, and something deeper he couldn't yet name. Are you saying she's the one I've been searching for? His voice was barely above a whisper, yet it carried weight, sending a shiver down the triplets' spines. The children exchanged stunned glances. Could this moment really change everything? Could their mom's life finally turn around? The lobby seemed to hold its breath, the glittering chandeliers reflecting the uncertainty and hope in their eyes. Whatever happened next would decide the future of their little family. The triplets stood frozen, eyes wide, as the billionaire held the crumpled envelope in his hands. The soft rustle of paper seemed louder than the bustling city outside, each second stretching endlessly. Tell me, he said, his dark eyes fixed on them, why should I help your mom? Lena stepped forward, tiny fingers trembling, but her voice rang with courage. She's honest. She's worked every day without rest, even when we had no food. She never gave up, even when things were impossible. Sami's voice wavered, but he pressed on. She's all we have. Please, we just want her to have a chance. Amara lifted her chin, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to spill. She deserves better. She's been struggling for years, and she's never asked for help. But today we're asking for her because she's everything to us. The billionaire's gaze softened. He was used to people groveling, asking for money, favors, or connections, but never with this kind of honesty, never with such raw emotion. The sincerity in their voices was impossible to ignore. He took a deep breath, folding the letter slowly. You three, you've risked so much coming here, he said, almost to himself. How do I know she's really the person you say she is? The triplets exchanged a glance. Then Lena held up the old photograph of their mom, smiling despite her worn clothes, her eyes warm and kind. This is her, she said softly. She's always been there for us, even when she had nothing. She's never hurt anyone. She's the best mom in the world. The billionaire studied the photo, then the children's hopeful faces. A flicker of something rare, a smile touched his lips. I've met a lot of people, he said slowly, but courage like this, honesty like this, it's not easy to find. Sami swallowed. Please, just one chance, that's all we're asking. The billionaire paused, pacing slightly, hands clasped behind his back. His office, visible through the open door behind him, gleamed with wealth and power, a world utterly foreign to these children. Yet their presence tugged at him in ways he hadn't anticipated. Finally, he stopped, leaning down to their level. You know, he said quietly, I've been looking for someone honest and hardworking to join my company. Someone who deserves a chance, and someone whose family values match mine. The triplets' eyes widened, hearts pounding. Could it be? Was this the moment their lives changed forever? He studied them one last time, voice firm but gentle. Bring her here, let her prove herself. One chance is all she gets. Do you understand? Yes, they chorused, nearly jumping with joy. Their small hands clutched together, relief and hope washing over them like a tide. "Good," he said, straightening. "And thank you for reminding me what courage looks like." The triplets dashed off, eager to fetch their mom. For the first time in years, hope wasn't just a dream. It felt real, tangible, within reach. The triplets raced through the streets, their small feet barely keeping pace with their pounding hearts. The envelope clutched tightly in Amara's hand felt heavier now, weighted with hope and possibility. They burst through the door of their tiny apartment, startling their mom, who was hunched over a stack of unpaid bills. "Mom, you have to come with us," Amara gasped, barely able to catch her breath. "What, where?" her mother began, confusion clouding her tired eyes. Sami interrupted, holding up the crumpled letter. "It's him, the billionaire. He wants to see you. One chance, that's all he said." Her breath caught, disbelief etched across her face. "Are you serious? Him here, now?" "Yes," Lena cried, tugging at her sleeve. "Please, Mom, we did it. We knocked, and he listened." Her hands trembled as she smoothed her worn apron. The thought of entering the penthouse, the world of opulence and wealth, made her heart race with both fear and hope. But looking at her children's hopeful faces, she knew she couldn't turn back. The elevator ride up to the billionaire's office felt like a journey into another universe. The polished floors, sparkling chandeliers, and hushed hum of activity created a surreal atmosphere. She clutched the envelope to her chest, praying she could live up to their expectations. The door to his office opened, and he stepped aside, a polite but commanding gesture. The triplets peeked out from behind their mother, nervous but eager. "Come in," the billionaire said, his voice calm yet authoritative. "I've been told you're honest, hardworking, and exceptional. Let's see if that's true." She nodded, swallowing hard, and stepped into the room. Everything gleamed: polished wood, soft leather chairs, and a desk so large it seemed to dominate the space. Yet despite the luxury, the focus of her attention was the man standing before her, stern, yet strangely inviting. "Have a seat," he said, motioning toward the chair across from him. She obeyed, nerves tangling in her stomach. He studied her closely, as if weighing every word before it was spoken. "Your children told me about you," he began. "They described someone who sacrifices everything for her family, someone who never asks for help, even when she needs it most." Her eyes widened. I just do what I have to," she whispered. He leaned back, folding his hands. "I've been searching for someone like you for a position in my company. Honest, reliable, someone I can trust with responsibility. One chance, that's all I can offer." Tears threatened to fall, but she blinked them back. I won't let you down," she said firmly. The billionaire's expression softened for the first time, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "I believe you. You start tomorrow. Let's see how this goes." The triplets cheered quietly from the doorway, hugging each other tightly. Relief, joy, and disbelief washed over them. For years, their family had struggled in silence, barely scraping by. Now, one simple act of courage, the knock on a golden door, had changed everything. As they left the penthouse, the sun shining brilliantly overhead, the future suddenly seemed full of promise. Their mom would have a chance, their family would have hope, and perhaps, just perhaps, life might finally begin to turn in their favor. The next morning, their mom woke before dawn, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. For the first time in years, she would step into a world so different from the cramped apartment she called home. She dressed carefully, smoothing her worn blouse and adjusting her skirt, hoping it was enough to make a good impression. The triplets hovered nervously around her. Amara whispered, "You've got this, Mom, just be yourself." Sami nodded. "We believe in you. You've worked so hard you can do anything." Lena clutched her mother's hand. "Just show them who you really are." When they arrived at the towering office, she couldn't help but gasp. Marble floors stretched endlessly, glass walls reflected the morning sun, and every corner seemed polished to perfection. Yet even in the intimidating grandeur, she felt a surge of determination. Her family's future depended on this moment. The billionaire greeted her at the elevator. "Welcome." he said simply, his tone measured. I'll be observing your first day closely. Remember, honesty and diligence are what matter most here. The first task seemed simple, organizing files, managing emails, answering calls. But the pace was relentless and the standards high. Each mistake, however small, threatened to undo the chance she had worked so hard to earn. She felt the weight of expectation pressing down on her shoulders. A sudden challenge arose when a senior employee, slick and arrogant, tried to undermine her. Perhaps this isn't the right place for someone like you, he sneered, leaving subtle mistakes in her tasks to make her fail. Her heart sank, but she refused to give up. Flashbacks of her struggles, working double shifts, comforting her children when they cried, scraping together meals, fueled her resolve. I won't let them win, she whispered to herself. Meanwhile, the triplets kept watch outside. They knew their mom was facing obstacles but trusted her strength. When they noticed the rival employee switching documents and hiding files, Amara whispered to Sami, "We have to help." Using clever tricks, the children retrieved the missing documents and left them where their mom would find them. Each small act of courage and cleverness helped her shine, and slowly, the billionaire began to take notice. By the end of the day, her meticulous work and unwavering honesty had impressed everyone in the office. The billionaire observed quietly, noting her dedication, her ability to remain calm under pressure, and the quiet dignity with which she handled challenges. As the triplets peeked through the office door, their eyes lit up with pride. "She's amazing," Lena whispered. The billionaire finally spoke, his tone firm but approving. "You've proven yourself today. Your integrity, patience, and dedication are remarkable. This is only the beginning, but I see great potential." Her chest swelled with relief. Tears pricked her eyes as she turned to the triplets, who ran forward to embrace her. "We did it," Amara said, hugging her tightly. "Yes," she whispered back, her voice breaking with emotion. "We did it together." For the first time in years, hope felt tangible, as if the air around them had shifted. Life was no longer a relentless struggle. It was a path that could finally lead to security, success, and perhaps even happiness. A week into her new position, her confidence had grown, but so had the challenges. The office was a world of polished floors, endless meetings, and high expectations. While most colleagues observed her with quiet curiosity, one senior employee, Daniel, watched with thinly veiled contempt. From the first day, he had seemed determined to make her fail. Subtle sabotage, files misplaced, emails deliberately delayed, tasks assigned with hidden complications. Today, it was worse. He intercepted an urgent client request, swapping documents so her submission would be incomplete. Her heart sank as she realized the mistake. The client's deadline was tight, and failure could cost her the trust she had worked so hard to earn. Panic fluttered in her chest, but she quickly took a deep breath. "I can fix this. I won't let him win." Outside, the triplets had sensed her distress. They had been watching from the lobby, observing her frustration and hurried footsteps. Amara whispered, "We need to help. We can't let him ruin everything." Sami nodded, already planning. "I'll sneak into the files room. Lena, distract anyone who asks questions." In a flurry of whispered instructions, the children sprang into action. Lena's small voice, asking for directions or carrying papers, drew attention away. Sami moved quickly, retrieving the misplaced documents and racing to place them where their mom would find them. Mom returned to her desk, flustered but determined. She noticed the documents in their proper place, her brow furrowing in confusion. Then she saw the sticky note in her handwriting, reminders she had never written. A sudden realization hit her. Someone had intervened. Before she could investigate further, the billionaire stepped into the office. "I heard about the problem with the client submission," he said, his gaze calm but piercing. "It seems everything was resolved quickly. Can you explain?" Mom's hands shook slightly as she recounted the situation, careful not to accuse anyone prematurely. She highlighted her methodical corrections and the perseverance it took to meet the deadline despite unforeseen challenges. The billionaire's eyes narrowed slightly, then softened. He glanced around subtly, recognizing the unseen assistance that had kept everything on track. Though the culprit remained anonymous, he saw her resilience and ingenuity. "I am impressed," he said finally. "Not only did you recover the work, but you did it without panicking. That is rare, very rare." Relief washed over her as she looked out the window, spotting her 3 children peeking from the hallway. Their small faces lit with pride and mischief. Amara mouthed, "We got you." A smile broke across her face despite the tension. "We're a team," she whispered to herself, then to the billionaire. "Thank you for giving me this chance." The billionaire inclined his head, a hint of admiration in his eyes. "Keep proving yourself. You've already begun to show me why I trusted you." The day ended with renewed determination. Daniel, the rival, watched silently from his corner, realizing his schemes had been thwarted, not by luck, but by the unwavering bond of a mother and her children. Weeks passed, and the small apartment that had once been filled with worry and uncertainty now felt lighter, almost brighter. Mom's new job was thriving. Her diligence, honesty, and unwavering dedication had quickly earned the respect of her colleagues. Even Daniel, the once sneering rival, kept his distance, a grudging acknowledgement of her capabilities flickering in his eyes. The triplets watched her with pride, cheering quietly as she returned from work each day, her shoulders less burdened, her smile more genuine. The golden doors of the penthouse were no longer a symbol of unattainable luxury. They had become the threshold of a new life. Mom entered the office one morning to find a surprise waiting. The billionaire had arranged a private meeting, a rare honor that made her pulse race. "You've done exceptionally well," he began, his dark eyes reflecting a hint of warmth she hadn't seen before. "Your integrity, patience, and intelligence have exceeded every expectation. I've never met someone so committed to both their work and family." She blinked back tears. "Thank you, I only want to do my best, for my children and for you trusting me." He smiled faintly. "Trust is earned, and you have earned it. Today, I want to offer you something more than a position. You've shown me that you can take responsibility beyond the office. I want you to lead a new project, one that can truly change lives." Her heart leapt. This was more than just security. It was recognition of everything she had sacrificed, every sleepless night, every hard-earned penny she had painstakingly stretched for her children. Back at home, the transformation was equally remarkable. The apartment, though still modest, seemed fuller, walls lined with new books for the children, a small but sturdy dining table, brighter lighting, and fresh curtains. Laughter replaced anxiety. The children played freely, the shadows of fear gradually lifting from their lives. One evening, the triplets ran to the penthouse, giggling as they recounted small adventures from school and home. Their mom watched, heart swelling, realizing how much had changed. "I can't believe this is real," she whispered, hugging them tightly. Amara looked up with a smile. "It's real, Mom, you did this. We just helped a little." "Yes," she replied softly, pressing her forehead to theirs. "Together we did it." Even the billionaire began to take a subtle but noticeable interest in the family beyond professional respect. Small gestures, a kind word, a gentle smile, leaving snacks for the triplets, revealed the man behind the polished suit, a person capable of warmth and connection. One afternoon, as the family gathered in the office lounge for a brief celebration, the billionaire leaned back in his chair and observed them quietly. "I've seen many employees," he murmured to himself, "but few with such courage, love, and resilience." The triplets, oblivious to his private thought, laughed and chased each other around the lounge. Their joy was contagious, spreading to everyone nearby, including the once stern billionaire. He allowed himself a rare smile, a reflection of hope and human connection he hadn't felt in years. Mom watched her children, then glanced at the man who had changed her family's destiny. Gratitude, relief, and a quiet joy filled her chest. This was more than a job, more than wealth. It was a chance at life, a future that once seemed impossible. For the first time in years, she believed that anything was possible. And as the triplets hugged her tightly, she knew their lives had transformed forever, not just by luck or wealth, but by courage, love, and unbreakable family bonds. Months had passed since that fateful day the triplets knocked on the golden penthouse doors. The apartment they once called home had transformed, not just in appearance, but in spirit. The walls now echoed with laughter instead of worry. The small kitchen was filled with the smell of fresh bread and warm meals, and the children's giggles rang freely through the rooms. Mom had grown more confident, poised, and radiant. Her hard work at the Billionaire's company had not only secured their future but earned her genuine respect from colleagues and clients alike. She often found herself smiling at the thought. They had done it. They had overcome the impossible. The triplets, now more spirited than ever, thrived at school. Teachers noticed their confidence, their intelligence, and their kindness. Every day they would rush home to share small victories, a good grade, a new friendship, a fun moment at recess. Amara, Sami, and Lena knew the value of perseverance and the power of hope. It had been ingrained in them by their mother's tireless love and the life-changing day at the penthouse. One sunny afternoon, the family returned to the penthouse, not as desperate children seeking help, but as a family proud of their achievements. The billionaire greeted them warmly, a rare, genuine smile lighting his face. "I've been observing your growth," he said, addressing the triplets first. "Your courage and devotion to your mother are remarkable. Never forget it." Lena beamed. "We learned it from her." Mom stepped forward, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you for believing in us, for giving us a chance when it seemed impossible." The billionaire's gaze softened. "You earned it," he said. "All of it. Your family has shown me what true perseverance and love look like." The triplets couldn't resist a playful grin. They knocked gently on the office door again. "Mom says hi," Amara whispered, echoing their first knock months ago. The billionaire chuckled, the sound rare and genuine. "She's lucky to have all of you," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. That evening, as the family returned to their apartment, the skyline glittered like a promise. The city, once a symbol of struggle and fear, now felt like a place of endless opportunity. They had faced challenges, uncertainty, and even betrayal, but they had triumphed together. Mom tucked the triplets into bed, smoothing their hair, whispering the words she had longed to say. "I am so proud of you. You gave me hope and you've made everything possible. Together we can face anything." The children drifted off to sleep, hearts full of joy and minds dreaming of a brighter future. And for the first time in their lives, the family didn't fear what tomorrow would bring. They anticipated it with hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond of love. Outside, the city sparkled under the night sky. Somewhere in the distance, the penthouse gleamed like a reminder of the day everything changed, a symbol that courage, honesty, and determination could open even the heaviest doors. And as the triplets slept soundly, their mother stood by the window, gazing at the stars, knowing that life had finally begun to shine.